Hello guys, David here and welcome back to another video. Something a little bit different for you today. I'm going to be doing a tactic video. Now I've never done one of these before, so be nice first of all. Basically, I had a really good tactic that I created myself. Now I've never done this before in Football Manager. 2021 was the first time I created any tactics of my own. Normally I was very much a preset guy, make a couple of tweaks here and there, primarily on the roles and not really do much else. So I elected to try and take that jump, do some tactics, and one of them in particular has worked out really well. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel already, welcome. If you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe as well. But I have a save running with Salisbury FC, who are a non-league team at the moment, and that is the tactic I want to bring to your attention today. Very much a back to basics. We're going to put it on with a team in question. I'll show you who that team is in a second. And we'll show you how they get on with it, and I'll talk you through exactly what you need to do. What I'll also do is I'll pop a link in the description to download the tactic as well, and you can try it out for yourselves. But anyway, roll the intro and let's show you what we're working with. Okie dokie then. Now we've just literally replaced Frank Lampard as Chelsea manager. I mean, he's kind of a bit late on that Football Manager, but I can understand why you would be. So we've just replaced Frank. We're in the boardroom. We're in the Chelsea office, and we've just slapped this nice basic 4-4-2 on the screen for the players to go and have a look at. As you can see, it is very much a back to basics tactic. It is centered around the non-league kind of side of things, so it is very much aiming towards that sort of wheelhouse. However, I have made a couple of small subtle tweaks just to suit with some of the players that you might get at your disposal at a team like Chelsea. You can obviously make changes to the roles and stuff. They're not hard and fast. You don't have to stick with them as much as you can stick with it, deviate it depending on what sort of players you've got. But knowing what Chelsea are like with the team generally, I reckon this is going to fit quite nicely anyway, and I've not made a single change to this so far. So, formation-wise, as you can see, 4-4-2. Goalkeeper, flat 4, flat back 4, flat midfield 4, and 2 strikers up top. Instructions-wise, I was actually start mentality, positive mentality, pushing on, getting into those forward areas, trying to push on from there as well. Got to be done. Now, in possession instructions, again, kept it very simple. And again, these work with the roles that we've got in place as well, which I'll come to in a second. Keeping it fairly wide. We are going to be using the crossing of our wingers on the left and the right to try and whip balls in and get headers onto those, because we've got some pretty decent people who can get on the end of those in this Chelsea squad. Otherwise, we're just going to be overlapping on the left. That's literally the only thing we're going to be worrying about there. A little bit more direct. Again, obviously, you feel free to tweak this if you want based on the fact that you may not be playing with a team in non-league. So maybe you might want to go back a little bit on this, maybe make it a bit shorter, up the tempo, that sort of thing. We're going to be hitting early crosses. We're going to try and catch people on the off guard, sorry, and then nothing in terms of the dribbling, creative freedom, anything like that. In the transition, again, keeping it very simple. We're not pressing and we're not regrouping, we're keeping it very simple when possession's been lost. On the counter, when possession has been won, you'll see we've got 3 players sticking back just to almost form a back 3, just to kind of cover off there. And then we're going to distribute straight into the middle and get those players to shift the ball around in terms of the playmaker in the middle. Of the team that we've got, I honestly don't know who that would be, but there'll be someone out there we can do it with anyway. And then on the last one, a little bit more aggressive. Again, standard line of engagement, standard defensive line, nothing too revolutionary there. More urgent on the press, so we're going to be pressing forward a little bit more. And we've asked the players to get stuck in, so really kind of get into faces. We're going back to basics, like I say, aggressive football and things like that as well. Tends to work really well. I can honestly say that. We'll see how the test goes though, shall we? So, roles-wise, goalkeeper, defence. Nothing simple, no sweeper keeper, nothing like that. We know what Chelsea's goalkeeper's going to be like. We're keeping it very simple. We've then got a wing-back on support on the left and a wing-back on defend on the right. You'll see the wingers are fitting in with that. So the right-hand winger is going to be shifting forwards. The other one's going to be dropping back, with the wing-back probably going to be doing a bit of an overlap on that side of things. And then we've got a central defender on defend and a central defender on cover in the centre there as well. I did entertain with the option of putting a ball playing defenders in there, but again, I don't want to deviate too much from the tactic that worked in the first instance. In the centre, got a deep line playmaker and a ball-winning midfielder. Someone who's going to be playing the passes off, the other one's just going to run around nibbling ankles. That's the intention. And then up front, this combination, and generally speaking in FM21, I think that two striker formations are working really well. Is you've got an advanced forward who's going to be picking up on those balls over the top, and then you've got a pressing forward who's going to be, again, nibbling in those little areas in behind, and again pushing forward a little bit as well. I put him on support just so he drops a little bit further back, and in theory he's going to have a kind of a deep line forward feel to it as well, where he is going to try and link up and get into these general areas and do things like that. Now what I'm going to quickly do before I go on holiday forwards, I'm just going to quick pick to see who this puts in here, and of course that's who's going to go in there. It makes complete and utter sense. I mean, I probably would disagree with a couple of these. I'd probably put Mendy instead of Arrizabalaga. Probably put Chilwell there instead of Azpilicueta. I'd probably put what's his name, Thiago Silva in there. Kante and Mount, I can understand that. Mount was the one I was trying to think of who would fit into that role. Potentially maybe a Havertz, maybe even a Jorginho would work in there really nicely. Ziyech on the left, Pulisic on the right, Werner and Abraham on the left and right respectively. But anyway, that's the tactic. Like I say, if you like it, I'll pop it in the description below. You can have a look and test it out for yourselves. And if you do test it, I'd love to see how you get on with it. It'd be really interesting to see. I cannot stress enough, this works really, really well in non-league. I have never tested it on a Premier League side before, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on. But in the non-league save, in my Salisbury save, spoiler alert, we got 2 successive league titles and are fighting pretty nicely in the Vanarama National League at the moment as well. So it works really well down there. Interesting to see how we get on up in the Premier League. So just so you can see, make sure I do it properly. Going to go on holiday, use current match tactics, and we will come back at the end of the season. Let's go forward, do that. 4th of June we'll come back, set, and away we go. Alrighty then, 4th of June. The tactic has been in play for a year. The good news, we're still in charge. Bad news, didn't win the league. Distance, to be fair. I have had a quick look through to see what's going on. We finished 4th in the league in the end. The biggest thing that I'm noting is the fact that, yes, we won lots of games. We won the 3rd most games in the entire league, and had the top goal scorer in Timo Werner, so clearly I can get the lad firing. That tactic clearly works for him as an advanced forward. Mendy coming in with the 3rd most amount of clean sheets as well, which is quite interesting. Lot of losses there, but this was very much the same as to what happened in my Salisbury save as well. It's a very counter-attacking, let on a bit of pressure kind of thing, and you can catch them on the break quite a lot of the time because of obviously that direct football that you're going with. But you look at it, we still ended up with 34 plus goal difference. We still got into the Champions League. I'm still pretty pleased. I think it's pretty good. If you look at the goals scored, we scored the 4th most. We conceded the 4th least as well. So, I mean, look, if you're conceding 40 goals across a 38-game season, that's still pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that, especially when you consider the difference in terms of the goals scored as well. Drew the least amount of games. Don't really know what you say about that, to be honest. It's nothing much to report there, but beat the likes of Arsenal, beat the likes of Tottenham. Wasn't too far off of Man United, and arguably, if you look at that dodgy patch of form at the end, probably could have done better there as well, and probably could have been in 3rd, maybe even 2nd if we'd have carried on. But I mean, Liverpool runaway winners, as you can see. Team stats wise, we scored most games in a row. 23 games in a row when we scored, which is ridiculous, way more than anyone else. Or that is the last 23, of course. Should make that clear. Possession wise, don't get me wrong, you're not going to have a huge amount of the ball. As you can see, we were 11th in the possession standings. We're not going to get a huge amount of that, but if you look at some of the other bits as we go a bit further down, you'll see that's kind of taken away from the fact that you're still scoring a lot of goals. Look at this, clear-cut chances created, 36 most in the league. If we look a bit further down, we look at tackles won, we're most in the league by nearly 50 in there. Tackling percentage is 76%. Yeah, quite a few fouls, a fair number of yellow cards, but no reds, so that getting stuck in is still not doing too many bad things. Most possession won by over 120. I think that's it, if I'm good at maths. It all adds up. Yes, we're losing a bit of the ball, but we're not having a lot of ball, but we're winning it back quickly. We're getting up the pitch and we're scoring goals as a result of it. Not a single penalty conceded across the whole year, which is mental when you look at it that way. If we look at some of the player stats, like I said before, most clean sheets was... most goals scored was Timo Werner. Expected goals was 19.24. His average goals per game was nearly just under a goal a game. Anyone who beat that was Tyler Roberts, but as you can see, he played a lot from the bench. His 32 starting appearances and 3 on as a sub, and he scored 27 goals, 57 shots that he's taken there. Lots of stuff to look at here, which is all looking pretty nice. There's, yeah, not really anything massively bad. I mean, yes, obviously we could do with probably converting a couple more draws in, a couple more of those losses into victories. They're probably quite close. In terms of results in the cup, as you can see, it wasn't particularly favourable. Went out on penalties in the third round of the FA Cup to Man City, who obviously came second in the league in the end. Lost in the Carabao Cup semi-final. Didn't mean to click on that, to Liverpool. Again, difficult side to go up against. Arguably, probably could have done better in the Europa League. Dropped out of the Champions League in the group stages in a group with Real Madrid and Inter Milan. Again, I would take that. A little bit disappointing, weren't scoring many goals and conceded a few in there, but otherwise, again, very good. And yeah, if you look at some of these, yeah, there's been some dodgy little moments here and there. But if you look at it, there's loads of wins coming through. And I think if you're managing it in-game, then you're going to get some good results out of it as well. If we look at the start of the season, we lost to Tottenham on the opening day 1-0, but what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in all competitions, and wins against Man City, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan. Good results. Beating the likes of Arsenal, beating Leicester, beating Leeds. There you can see there's some results in there that are really good. Beating Tottenham away back at home. They're not big defeats. They're nice, decent victories as well, as you can see. Wins like 4-1. You look at some of the defeats on there. 2-1 to Man City. Lost on penalties to Roma in the Europa League. All of what we're seeing, all of the defeats are close, but the wins are big. And that's the biggest point. I think the biggest defeat we've got there are 2-3-1s against Liverpool and Man United. And Wolves, not that one. But anyway, I think it's a brilliant tactic. I'd like to see what you guys think as well. Just go back to it. 4-4-2, nothing fancy, as I mentioned before. Like I say, if you do want to tweak these roles a little bit, you're more than welcome to. Maybe some ball-playing defenders. Maybe you want to put some inverted wingers and get the wing-backs bombing on a little bit more. That sort of thing. As you can see, if we look at the ratings, you've got the top rating is clearly going to be Timo Werner. 31 goals in all competitions. Tammy Abraham getting 17. Good spread through the midfield as well. Couple from Mount, couple from fewer from Encante. Same on the wings as well. Pulisic getting involved. Tomori getting them in as well. So clearly getting good goals from corners and stuff. Look, there's loads of positives to it. What I would suggest, give it a go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like I said, link will be in the description so you can download the tactic. I think it works really well. Yes, it's probably better suited towards non-league, but you look at that, it's clearly with the right mentality. If you're managing games correctly, and like my guy on holiday probably was, then you've got a real benefit of it. You've got a really great tactic there available to you. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. Like I say, I really appreciate your thoughts on this. It is something different. I've never done tactics up until this point, but I have found this one's really, really well. So hopefully you guys do as well. If you enjoy this video, smash the thumbs up on there. If you like the channel, hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't done already. And like I said, let me know. If you download the tactic and you try it yourself, let me know. I'll leave a link in the Steam Workshop to the tactic in the description, like I mentioned before. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Mine has been David. Catch you guys next time. Cheers.